Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to give you the top 3 profitable forex strategies that you can use in 2024. Okay, so I chose these strategies based on 2 reasons. One is based on simplicity, ease to assimilate. Then 2, based on their good risk to reward ratio. Okay, so the very first one is called impulse and correction strategy. So impulse and correction strategy it simply has to do with the fact that market moves in 2 different 2 different natures. You have the impulse nature and you have the corrective nature. Okay, so when the market is moving, you have impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, like that. You understand? So you need to identify which aspects the market is currently is. So what you have here, you can see this is an impulsive move. Okay, this is a corrective move. This is an impulse. Okay, correction. You understand? So that's how the market moves, and all you just need to do is to draw a pattern around your corrective phase. So you draw a pattern around the corrective phase. Once that pattern gets broken, then you enter your trade. Okay, so let's see. I want to quickly show an example. This is a pattern right here around this corrective phase. So I'm trying to draw a pattern around that region. I think I need another line down here. So basically you draw a boundary, okay, around the corrective phase. Once the boundary gets broken, if it's broken, if price breaks below the boundary you drew, then it suggests to you that price wants to go down. If price breaks above, that suggests that price wants to go in the upward direction. And you can see what happened. Price broke above and moved upwards. So basically that's how the strategy works. I can draw boundaries around here. Okay, so you have this. Okay, let me copy that. Okay, up there. So you can see how I'm doing it. I'm basically drawing a boundary around the region where there is kind of indecision. You don't know if the price wants to go up or if it wants to go down. So that's where you draw your boundary. Then you wait for price to decisively move in a particular direction, whether it's upwards or downwards. That gives you the idea of where price wants to go. And you can see what happened. Price broke below and moved down. Okay, price broke below and moved down. Even as it's moving down, it's still giving us some corrective patterns, which I can draw boundaries around. Let's see, give me this. Okay, I can draw my boundary around here. Okay, so basically you draw a boundary around area of indecision, then wait for price to decide a particular direction. So that's what we call the corrective, the impulse and correction strategy. So you can see price was showing indecision around here. I drew my boundary there. Price broke below, and what happened? Moved downwards. Okay, so that's the first strategy. Imagine entering here. Imagine entering around here. You would have made a reasonable amount for a very small stop loss. Okay, so the risk to reward ratio is quite cool. Let's go to the second strategy I want to talk about, and that has to do with the break and retest strategy. Okay, so break and retest strategy simply has to do with a particular level the price has been respecting. So it's not necessarily going to be a trend line. It can be a trend line, it can be a support line, it can be what's it called, resistance. Okay, but price has to respect it, meaning that particular level must have supported or resisted price up to like 2 to 3 times. Let's say 3 times. Okay, so you can see what happened here. This is a trend line, and the trend line has been respected 1 or 2, multiple times, up to 3 times. Okay, then when it broke, you expect a retest before price will keep moving in the downwards direction. Okay, so it got broken, it retested. Let me zoom it a bit so you see what I'm saying. Okay, so it got broken here, retested, came up again but did not touch it the second time, then moved down. Okay, so break and retest strategy. This also works for support and resistance, but you also need to be careful when it comes to this strategy. Always wait for confirmation, because price can break then go back in again. You know, we call that a fake out. You understand? So, and price can also break and do not retest, just keeps going. So you need to be aware of this. Okay, the last but not the least strategy I want to talk about, this one, I love this strategy because it hardly fails. If you use it well, it hardly fails. I'm not saying it does not fail, but it hardly fails, and that's supply and demand strategy. So for that, I'm going to GBP USD. Okay, I already have a supply and demand. No, I have a demand zone drawn. For those that don't know what a demand and supply zone mean, a supply zone is simply a level where a lot of sellers come into the market. Okay, institutions also come into the market at this particular level. So they come in and then they sell. All right, a lot of selling takes place. So price will be pushed down from this level. While a demand zone is simply a zone where a lot of buyers come into the market and push the price up. Okay, so what I have right here is a demand zone that I've drawn. Let me show you the beginning of the demand zone. Okay, all right, I have 2 demand zones right here. Let me zoom out. Okay, so this is the first demand zone under here. You can see price was pushed up from that level. I drew these zones on a higher time frame. Right now I'm on 15 minutes time frame. Okay, so I drew this zone on a higher time frame. I think I drew them on 1 hour time frame. That's why the zone looks big like this. Okay, so I drew this one on higher time frame. You can see price moved up here. This is my first number 1 demand zone. Then another demand zone was created up here, and this is my number 2 demand zone to push price up. So all I just need to do is to wait for price to come back to this zone in order to buy again. And remember, once it gets into the zone, you're not buying immediately. You need to wait for some confirmation before you buy. That's what differentiates you, differentiates an experienced trader from an amateur trader. An amateur will just jump in because it's in the zone. No, you have to wait. Anything can happen. It can go past this second zone and start coming back to come and push up from the first zone. So you don't predict what the market wants to do, you react to what the market is doing. I hope it makes sense. Let's see. So you can see price comes back there into the zone. Okay, it has not entered the zone yet. Let me move it. Okay, it has entered here. So price entered the zone here, you see, and then did what? Pushed up again. You understand? So that we would have made money this first time. It came back again, entered the zone, and did what? Moved up. But the rule of thumb when it comes to using supply and demand zones, once it has paid you, just know that the second one is a lower class trade. Okay, so the first one is usually the top notch trade. You understand? After you draw your zone, once it comes into that zone and pays you by going in your favor, if you want to take trade at that particular zone again, you are taking a more risky trade, because since it has already paid you, it means you might not have enough buyers or sellers at the zone anymore. You understand? Because it has been mitigated. Okay, but this time it paid the second time. Okay, it's paid the second time. Let's see. if it's going to pay the third time. It entered the zone the third time. Okay, we are still in the third time, so you can see that's where price is now. That's where price is. Okay, so we are trying to see if it's actually going to push from here, or if it's going to come down to the first demand zone and push from there. Okay, so the price has a market has different options, okay, but we just have to watch to see exactly what it wants to do. But with the way it's moving, I'm thinking it's going to come out of this particular zone, because it's already almost out of the zone, you can see, and probably to just push up. But it's a risky trade since that zone has already paid us. We shouldn't be taking trades from that zone. Okay, all right, so basically these are the 3 strategies I think will be very, very okay for you to work on. If there is any one of these 3 you would like me to give more examples and throw more light on, you can drop that in the comment section. I'm not trying to explain each and every of these strategies in this video. I'm basically just mentioning the strategies and throwing hints on the strategies. I'm not breaking them down. So if there's anyone you want me to really go in on and really talk about, explain better, please drop that in the comment section. I would have loved to add some ICT strategies that I personally use, but I chose these ones based on simplicity. Once I bring if I add the ICT strategy, it will be a little bit more complex. Okay, these ones are kind of simple for anybody to understand, be you a beginner trader, intermediate, or advanced. Okay, so these ones are basically very, very simple and easy to understand, and they have good risk to reward ratio. Okay, so if you got any value, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.